Ladies and gentlemen, these are the two newest SUVs from Mercedes-Benz India. On my right is the EQB and this is the GLB. Now the GLB is the baby version of the GLS and this is an electric version of this. So the question is, when Mercedes already has so many SUVs in its portfolio, why two more? Well, the simple answer to that is that while they do have many SUVs, there is hardly any SUV in the 50 lakh to 1 crore segment with 7 seats. And that's exactly where these two SUVs fit in. So how well do they perform? What is the level of comfort these 7 seats offer? How are they to drive and what kind of features you get? And are they really any good or not? Let's find out over the next few minutes. Alright, now let's talk about the design first of these two SUVs. Now, essentially they are the same SUVs but with a different powertrain. Of course, one is electric, one is diesel or petrol. But when you look at the outside, the exterior design, there are quite a few noticeable changes. The EQB, which is the electric version, definitely looks more futuristic. When you look at the grille, the completely shut grille, the LED DRLs running from one end to the other. Even when you look at the tail lamp, it's running from one end to another. The alloy wheel design is different. In fact, the EQB comes with 18-inch alloy wheels, whereas the GLB comes with 19-inch alloy wheels. So yes, enough differences to give each of them a different visual character, but at the end of the day, design is a subjective matter, and I find both of these SUVs to be good looking SUVs. They'll come across as SUVs that have a nice road stance, and they're not sporty, they're not wow to look at, but that's not what they were made to do. They look as if they've been designed to get people from one point to another in style and comfort, and well, I think both of these SUVs do a good job of conveying that to onlookers. Now once you move inside to the cabin of both of these SUVs, well, the differences again continue, not as much as in the exterior design, but still there are differences when you look at the seat upholstery, when you also look at the design patterns on the dashboard, some treatment in the screens. That part you'll find it to be different in both SUVs. But beyond that, there is no other major change, as in like none of them have a completely different dashboard, a completely different seats, or a completely different space inside. That is not the case. They are pretty much similar. And now if I talk about the cabin, well, cabin quality is very impressive in both these SUVs. And if the cabin looks nice, the material quality, the fitment quality is nice. It conveys a good premium and a plush feeling. Now, talking about the screen, well, it's the screen that we are now used to seeing on Mercedes-Benz cars. So the instrument cluster and the center console screen, it's one unit and looks pretty smart. It's a neat design, works well. The instrument cluster is customizable, so you can change the way the displays look and what kind of information they convey. The center console screen itself, well, again, good touch response. The user interface is simple, lots of information, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can also view a lot of interesting electric vehicle related data in the EQB. In terms of features also, both the SUVs give you a good list of features. So you get the dual sunroof, and you also get good seats, electrically powered seats. There is wireless charging, and beyond that, if you look at the practical storage space inside the cabin, that's in abundance. Again, that adds to the convenience of occupants inside the cabin. The seats themselves are very comfortable, and that is something that Mercedes says they have put in new seats. These are sports seats, so these are claimed to offer very good side support and comfort at the same time, and they actually do that. So we've driven these SUVs downhill from Kodaikanal to Madurai, and we were really pushing them hard around those twisty roads, and the seats gave us brilliant side support. So long drives and these seats, I think it's a great combination. Moving to the middle row, well, middle row again, it's not a massive SUV, but it's been smartly engineered. As a result of that, you get good space in the middle row. legroom, knee room, headroom. I think even if you're someone who is tall, say about 6 feet tall, you will not complain about space. The rear bench, the seat themselves, very nice. I like the fact that the under thigh support is good. The backrest angle is nice. You can also adjust the backrest angle. You can adjust the seat. You can push it forward, push it back. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, and well, that is something you would want in an SUV that seats 7, because that's the most important part, the last row. And I'm not just going to speak about it. Let me show you what kind of space you get in the last row of these SUVs. And now on to the big one, the test of the third row. Well, it's a 7 seat, so let's see if it's actually usable for 7 people or not. So that is how far the seat will go. And in terms of entry and exit, as you can see, well, this is how you get in. So not a breeze to get in. We already have these seats folded, so you can see the space I have. Now if I put the seat back up and try and find a decent position, well, at best I would say this seat is suitable for kids, and honestly Mercedes also says it's a seat for pre-teens, so I think that's a good thing. They're being very honest there. As an adult, you can see I hardly have any knee room left because the seat is so low, the floor is so high, my knees are pointing upward, no under thigh support. In terms of headroom also, just barely any headroom. So yeah, I mean, it's not a seat where an adult would want to be for long, but yes, your pre-teens, your kids can easily sit in this seat, and that means that as a 7-seat family vehicle, these two twins are actually usable. And this is the exit. Again, not very easy, but not too bad either. So clearly, as a 7-seat SUV, both of these, the EQB and the GLB, are usable. Yes, like I said earlier, maybe more for kids and pets, but at the end of the day, if you want to seat 7, you can seat 7 people in these both SUVs. Let's talk about the driving performance. The EQB, well, that's an electric vehicle, so it comes with a battery capacity of a little over 60 kilowatt hours, which is again a nice number. And in terms of power, it delivers 225 horsepower and over 400 newton meters of torque. So all that being electric, which means it's readily available right from the moment you step on the throttle, and that means the EQB is fun to drive. It may be an SUV that is aimed at seating 7, but it's not boring to drive, not at all. It's a fun to drive SUV. It can really go quick, and like I said, well, we were pushing these SUVs hard today coming down from Kodaikanal, and the EQB is brilliant fun on twisty roads, because when you're going through sharp turns and winding roads, you want something that can dart off a corner. You go through a turn and you just want to shoot through a corner, and with that electric torque, the EQB really impresses in that respect. In terms of straight line stability, the speed, the acceleration, like I said, very impressive. The top speed is limited to 162 kilometers an hour. That is in order for the battery to not discharge too fast. But as far as range goes, well, Mercedes claims more than 400 kilometers on a full charge. But the way we've been driving the EQB today, we've driven it downhill, we've driven it also through some towns and on highways. And I can tell you that you can safely expect more than 300 kilometers on a charge in normal city driving conditions. In terms of charging also, you get good options. You can plug it into a fast charger, and that brings down the charging time. You can also use a normal wall box charger, which will come inclusive in the car purchase price. So you can get that installed at either your office or your home, and again that also can charge your car in about 6.5 hours. So with the range it has, I think 1 or 2 charges in a week, and that should get you through for most of the usage cycle. Now when it comes to the GLB, you can choose between a petrol or a diesel engine. Now the petrol we have not driven. Today we have driven only the diesel one, and the diesel one gives you about 187-88 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Comes paired to an automatic gearbox, and well, it's a torquey engine, enough to move the mass of this vehicle. By no means is it slow. It's a quick vehicle. You can, again, the gearbox has been paired well to the engine, so the drivability is good. The only slight issue is that when you're pushing the diesel version really hard, some sound starts filtering inside the cabin, so that diesel clatter becomes quite audible. But if you do have the music on, I don't think that should be a problem. The drivability, like I said, is very good, and same. I mean, it's fun to drive. Not as quick as the EQB, of course, that's electric. But at the same time, the GLB is still a quick SUV, and you can push it around corners. It's got good stability. It's got good handling. The brakes give you good confidence. The stopping power is nice. The initial bite is strong. The steering also gives you a decentish amount of feedback, not great feedback, but yes, decent amount of feedback. And as a result of all of this, you get an SUV that is very stable and inclined to ride. At the same time, if you do want to go fast, it will not give you any reasons to be nervous about it. Of course, I found the EQB to be a little more fun and better in terms of handling. Then that's primarily down to the fact that it's got a huge heavy battery pack, and that too, the way it's been positioned, its center of gravity is low, so that again aids stability. So it's a minor difference, but yes, at the end of the day, more fun to drive. This one is diesel, so yeah, it's more conventional, and well, yeah, in terms of running cost, we all know electric, so that's going to be way cheaper than diesel. But the good thing is that with these twins, Mercedes is most importantly offering consumers a choice to either go in for electric right now, or if you want to wait, well, that still doesn't mean that you can't have this SUV. You can buy it in diesel or petrol, see how things turn out to be over the next few years, and maybe in a few years you can still go in for an electric one. So by now we have told you everything that you need to know about the Mercedes-Benz EQB, which is the electric one, and the GLB, which is the diesel and petrol SUV. Now, the last thing, the price. Well, the vehicles have not been launched yet as we are driving them right now, but very soon they will be launched. So I can't tell you the prices right now, but looking at the track record of Mercedes-Benz, looking at how they've been pricing their vehicles in the last few years, I expect that Mercedes-Benz will price both these vehicles in a very competitive manner, and there shouldn't be, I don't expect the electric version to cost like massively more than the diesel or the petrol one. I don't think the difference will be that much, because the idea for the company is to offer the consumers a choice between internal combustion engine or electric. And I think, I mean, no matter what you choose between these two, you can't go wrong with either of them. Like I said, of course, if you think that an electric vehicle is still not up to your usage cycle, or you need to wait a bit more, you can still go in for the GLB. Again, a very nice proposition, and it really delivers well on the expectations and the requirements of a consumer in this segment. Most importantly, with these two SUVs, Mercedes-Benz is now trying to capture that gap or fill that gap in the market, which I said in the beginning of this video, 50 lakh to 1 crore segment. A lot of SUVs, but 7-seat, well, now you have these two, internal combustion or electric, your choice. You can't go wrong with either of them.